systems go. Clear for liftoff. What's up, everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, a.k.a. ToeTagginTambo, back for another edition of the Monday Night Football Show. It's a special one this week. It is the wild card weekend wrapping up. We've got the Texans at the Steelers. Going to break it all down from a DraftKings FanDuel Showdown perspective. Going to talk through the captains, ownership, roster construction, position by position. Any questions you guys have, you can throw them in the chat. Make sure to tap that thumbs up on the way in and subscribe to the channel. We got PGA just around the corner. Title and Hoop here with me as always. Hoopster, what's going on, my friend? Crazy weekend of games, regardless of the DFS results for anybody out there. It was a wild weekend of amazing games, really.
Yeah, I mean, you take everything out of the equation, just besides like the entertainment standpoint, it's been just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, these games have been great. I mean, even the first game, everyone thought, okay, the Rams are going to smoke the Panthers. Like, not the case. They had to march down the field and score at the end to win. So good for sports when there's like parity, like this. Not like baseball or like MLB or NBA and, these other sports. Like, the parity in sports is just huge. It makes such a difference. And I think that's what we see this year. A lot of people are talking, because the Chiefs are out, it's more wide open. I don't know. I just think it's the direction that the sport is going with how they run the draft and the draft picks and the salary cap and things like that. I think this is a direct result of that. And it's been fun to watch. I mean, every game besides last night, that was pathetic. I mean, that was absolutely pathetic. Whatever the Chargers were trying to do or whatever their game plan was absolute dog shit. I mean, that was really bad. But outside of that, we had, 4 solid games and one shitter. I'll take that all day. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, someone said it, Title. I think it's funny. When you get a bunch of randomness on the season, that's what makes for good games. I know when it's like an island game of whatever two random teams you want to pick, the Titans and the Saints or something, it's obviously going to be bad. People know that, or they say this is going to be horrible. But when you get into the playoffs and it's win or go home, and then you get these rivalries and you get these certain matchups early on, it can make for some really good games. It's because there's so much uncertainty. I watched all those games and I still don't know who's winning the Super Bowl. No one does, but I mean, like, it's not like any other year where you're like, yeah, well, it's probably this or probably that. I still don't have that feeling fully off of how close some of those games were. How you do, my friend? And what was your thoughts on the weekend so far before we get into this one?
Yeah, doing well. I mean, Hoop said it good. I mean, every single game except the last one, but it was still close yesterday. The night game wasn't great football, but it was still a one possession game most of the time. Just amazing. What I see though is coaching discrepancies to coaching differences is really, really big in the NFL. I mean, Matt LaFleur got that one right. He's been a donkey for a while. It was full force in that one. Nick Sirianni, the Eagles, a little fraudish, it seems. Shanahan put on a masterclass. Coaching is very, very important. Little decisions, when to use the timeout, when not to, stuff like that can change everything. So, yeah, I've enjoyed watching. I've watched every snap of all of them. I'm excited for it tonight, too. Aaron Rodgers. I'm cheering for the Texans for some Survivor stuff, but, man, it would be nice to see Aaron Rodgers get a dub right now, too. So I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, it's all I was just going to say quickly because the title's boy, but do you think, I know there's already been talks about if he's good, he'll come back next year, like if, but do you think a lot of it is predicated off tonight and what ends up happening? Like if he wins and moves on versus if he loses, do you think this could be his last game?
I think it could be, but I don't think it really predicates. I think he's a guy that takes every day on its own, and he'll go based on the summer and the off season. And am I bored? Do I still want to play football? Do I still have it? He knows the daily grind and all that. So I really think it'll come down to probably July for him, August, and he'll go from there. I don't think it's tonight.
Go ahead, Dude.
No, my one question, which I think is interesting, is the Bills thing. Like that touchdown at the end. Like,
donkey. No
you
chance.
Think so? See, I'm not fully convinced that it was. Like I get it. Like at first I was like, oh, this is so stupid. But like imagine the backlash if you don't take the free touchdown and they don't score there. What if there's a fumble or a false start? They go back 5 yards. Like at first glance, watching the game, I was like, that is so stupid just to score right away. Like you gotta take a knee or something right at the 1. But thinking about it again, like then you got 3 downs, something bad could happen, a false start, then you're back at the 5, and it's probably 50-50 to score. Potential fumble, 3 stops potentially at the goal line, not likely, but that is in play. Like the team's giving you a free touchdown. Like, I don't know. I've kind of reversed my initial thought on it and said, maybe just take the points and put your defense out there. I don't know. I can see both.
I think, it's independent on the situation. When the opposing kicker can boot it from 50 yards where they need 2 yards to send it to OT, that's a different ballgame than Brandon McManus, who's already missed 2 field goals, or you have the Houston defense. I just think nothing's given for sure. I don't think taking the knees right or as much as just like, maybe just like a quick, you lose like half a yard and then you trust yourself on the next. I think the time they could have ticked off, obviously it worked for him, but man, I think the odds increased to win, and the books would have showed that if he did do that. But I do think every situation's independent. Having one of the best kickers on the other side, it makes it a little harder for me to do that.
Did the bots have it, or did anybody pull it to see like how bad that really was? Because my actual right from the beginning, and I actually still stand by it, is as dumb as McDermott is on like a billion things. There's way too many ways that can get messed up, and like to kneel it and then wait.
A team did it earlier in the season and it backfired. It was in the regular season. I can't remember what game it was, but it backfired. It was pretty much the same scenario, and they didn't end up scoring. And
but they also just got 13 on the QB sneak 2 plays before. Like they got the biggest quarterback. Like
I get it. No, I still think
Patriots.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it wasn't Patriots, and I still think the right move was to not score on the first play. I do, but I think it's a little bit closer than I initially thought when you start factoring in some of these other things. Like you said, the kicker thing's good. I mean, a lot of these kickoffs, you're getting the ball at the 35 for that guy. It's 15 more yards, and then he has a chance to make a field goal. But then at that point, it's still it would have been a tied game, so you're still battling. So I don't know. There's a lot of factors. I don't think it's as cut and dry as everyone was making it out to be.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely one of the ones that I want to look more into it, because I didn't think of it till now again, but I do remember thinking about it at the time, and I was like, man, I just don't see as many teams taking that risk on. But yeah, I guess what like Title said, because you got the kicker on the other side, there's more variables always, but lots of decisions need to be made, and some are very bad and others are kind of interesting. But yeah, fun weekend nonetheless. So we'll get to this one in a second, guys. Definitely got to talk about this first. Want to congratulate our winner, Mr. Ryan Fetter 73. I know that we made some jokes about this. Everyone knew that I was ineligible for this. I just said that Wonka had to let him know who owns the factory. We let him know, but we're still giving it all away, just like the movie. Of course, it was never eligibility for myself. So just running it, being in it the whole way, kind of having some fun with it. Definitely a fun contest throughout the year. I know a ton of members loved it. Just showing it off here. 20,000 to Ryan. You've got Cade, by the way, was an interesting story. The 50th Golden Shipit, the very last Golden Shipit winner of the entire season, have to win your way in and beat the field at 199 to get the job done, and then go finish second, get to the grand finals and finish second for 10K. So what a story from Cade. You got High Hopper, Hemo Guy, Thunder Nation, Bubba MSU, Jay Rydell, Mark JP9, Billy Fan 2002, and Mule 1JE. So congrats to you guys. I thought that was just phenomenal. And then just over here, I'll show just the champion. This is Ryan. Says, thank you, Shipit Nation, Tambo, and the Shipit community. Amazing contest, and I'm truly honored and humbled. I've been such a better DFS player due to all the tools and training that Shipit offers. You too can improve in each and every DFS sport with their help. So it's a testament to the team over here at Shipit Nation that we've got. Just incredible, and just the community as a whole being able to have fun like this. I said it a bunch. Hoop said it a bunch. Title. It's truly a community event. It was for everybody in the community to have fun with it, and we did it all season long. We ran it top to bottom, from random ideas as a group to putting it into reality. So it was a lot of fun. Hoop, I don't know if you have anything else you want to add, but just an awesome time to have this happen.
Yeah, I wanted to try something fun, unique, different. Honestly, there's really no one else in the industry, I think, that really would have the financial ability to do something like that. I'm not taking shots at anyone personally, but I'm saying from a business perspective, I don't think many of these businesses would have the ability to do it. We're fortunate enough to have the ability to do something like that this, and we wanted to give back to our community. That's what we've been about since day one, keeping all our offerings affordable and continuing to improve, continuing to add on. And, this is all about giving back to the community. And again, we said it at the beginning. I mean, from a business perspective, this probably cost us, and we were fine with that. Like, I don't think we definitely didn't profit off running Ship It games. It was an expenditure for us, and we were totally fine with that. We wanted to do it, keep it fun within the community, and I'm glad we did it, and congratulations to the winners.
Yeah, title, I thought it was a lot of fun. Anything you want to add there, man, before we move on? Just obviously, Ship It Games is now up. We will hit up all these winners. I've talked to Ryan. I've talked to a couple already, but we'll have a full email with details and get everything handled pretty much right away. We'll deal with it throughout this week and get you guys all taken care of. But anything you want to add, title, before we close that chapter and get on to the next stuff?
Yeah, no, congrats to them that placed, and shout out to SaberSim again for also chipping in and helping out. So yeah, hope everybody enjoyed it. Not very often you get free rolls with 20K to first. So yeah, that's awesome stuff.
Yeah, ton of fun. We'll see. Everybody asked about next season, to be determined. We're going to do some follow-up and chat with people. But just around the corner before we get to this week, PGA Early Bird Special. Have to note this. Hoop and I will be back tomorrow. The newest member of the team over at Ship It Nation helping us out with PGA this season, Matt Gannon, will be joining us on the second half of that show. But Hoop and I will be back tomorrow on this channel, 2 p.m. Eastern, I believe it is. Yeah, 2 p.m. Eastern, breaking down the full launch, not a Sony show, but talking about this coming back. But this is very clear, guys. No one has a deal like this. We'll make it as, no sugarcoating, straight to the point. There's sites that charge $350 for opinions and a Discord. There's sites that charge $599 for projections and ownership and tell you to go buy your optimizer elsewhere. There is tons of different sites that barely do anything and still charge $400 or $500 for all that to be said. This ends on Wednesday, and then it goes to $399. We're not playing around. $349 is including SaberSim. You're just not going to get that anywhere else. And, but I heard this other site has better projections. We got guys like Sheets, we got Title, we got others, tons of people looking at the projections and ownership and digging into it. It's whatever you think is the difference. If you want to pay double the price because of some validation, that's up to you. We don't take too many shots, but we're just noting the success is out there. Back-to-back years, we've got Millie Maker winners in the majors. There's only eight majors to go through over 2 years that we've had it, and we've got 2 of them with full interviews and everything. So check it out, guys. Go get the special. Let's hop into it, though. Other than that, guys, I think we can cover that tomorrow, Hoop, but I'll let you take it first for your grand scheme overview. We got Texans at the Steelers. Get right into it here.
Well, hoping it makes wildcard weekend 5 out of 6 in terms of solid games, and I think it has the potential to do just that. I mean, the total is not big in this game. I mean, it's a relatively low total compared to what we saw the rest of the weekend, but I think there's a chance for something to happen here offensively. And either way, I think we can get a good solid game. On the Texans side, I mean, they've started to consolidate a little bit. It looks like, Woody Marks kind of gets a majority of the work now. He was splitting for a majority of the season, but come playoff times, it looks like, it's going to be his backfield, and that's good for DFS. I think that's good for tonight. Nico Collins is an absolute stud, and then you have some big play guys. I mean, Higgins made big plays at the end. Jalen Noel made big plays at the end of the season. And then you got a guy in Dalton Schultz at the tight end position that can rack up a ton of catches. And obviously you guys know that I love myself some Dalton Schultz. On the Steelers side, getting DK Metcalf back, that improves the chances of this game getting some back and forth. Kenneth Gainwell kind of being, Aaron Rodgers, I guess, wide receiver 2 last week, probably kind of like wide receiver 1. He fits Aaron Rodgers perfectly, what Aaron Rodgers loves to do. When you get in Aaron Rodgers' good graces, you tended to get on the field a lot, and that's what we've seen with Gainwell. And then who's the big boy tight end? Darnell Washington tonight. So it looks like Pat Freiermuth is going to kind of get a little boost. And an interesting fact, I had no idea. I just found this out looking at the DraftKings player pool that Donald Parham Jr. is part of the Steelers organization. Had no idea. Just found that out. Saw his name there, and that got me excited pre-show. I wish he was. I don't think he's going to be active or anything. Is he on? I think he's actually on the. He's on the injured list anyway, but he's a part of the Steelers, and that made me somewhat excited. But yeah, I think we have a chance. The main pieces for the Steelers right now are going to be Metcalf and Kenneth Gainwell, 2 guys that catch passes, which is good for kind of keeping the game going well. And then on the Steelers side, you have Collins, you got some big play wide receivers, you have Schultz. I think there's a chance we could see some back and forth here and maybe an over game and hopefully a close competitive over game. I know we were talking pre-show, and I think all three of us are in the same boat for the playoff survivor stuff where we need Houston to win. But I think I think it could go either way in terms of who wins this one.
Yeah, Title, I'll let you start the captains in a second, but Rodgers, we already talked about. The Steelers team, though, just, Rodgers is a gamer, so it starts with him, and then whatever he decides to find out there, as you know, but like Hoop said, he finds his favorites. He gets Metcalf back. He's got Gainwell there. He can hit up Freiermuth, Jonnu, somebody said in the chat they'll be getting Hayward for the first tutty. He can hit him. So he's got all kinds of options over there. It's the defense of Houston that people love, and the fact that you've got, Nico, Stroud, Schultz, et cetera, easy to stack, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm curious to just if you have anything to add from a roster constructions thoughts or like how people are building. Because the other thing I'm hearing too a lot of, and I'll put it in the chat later, but I'm sure if we just ask people right now who's winning and over or under, I think we would just hear a lot of Texans under, right? Because it has to be that way. Last night, that's how it went. You see this game very similar to last night. I don't know if it will necessarily be that case. It's a playoff game. Anything can happen. A lot of people didn't think the Panthers were going to put up points. A lot of people didn't think a lot of things. But what's your thoughts? Any quick ads, and then you could start us on the captains.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough game for DFS, and ownership will be spread out. Like when we're looking at the captain position, the highest own is Nico Collins at about 19%, CJ 16, 12 Gainwell, 11 DK. So no one projected over 20, which is nice. And it makes sense. A 38.5 total. I'm looking at touchdown props, plus 140 for Nico to score, plus 170 for Woody. And after that, the best is plus 220 for Gainwell. So no one favored to score a touchdown in this game. Both running backs like Gainwell, Warren, some sort of a split. Gainwell's outsnapped them a little bit as of late, and I expect that to continue. But both have big price tags, and we don't know about that, which makes it fun for DFS. And like Hoop said, Woody Marks. So Jawar Jordan, the backup, was overtaking Nick Chubb as RB2, and he's not playing today. So I do expect it to be almost all Woody Marks backfield, which is important. Going on, and last thing for the roster construction, I do think 4-2 Texans will probably be the most popular. Of course, 3-3 will be there as well. But once you start putting in more Steelers than you do Texans, I think that's a way to get a little different on this slate and only a 3-point spread. I'm definitely wide open, or my ears are open in terms of captains and what you guys are doing. I don't really plan on having too many huge stands. I think the two that stand out to me the most when looking at ownership is DK Metcalf and Jalen Warren. Warren at 4%. Like, again, I get it. Gainwell's outsnapped him. He's definitely been better, the better pass catcher. But should he be 3 times higher owned at the captain? I don't know. I do think the Steelers try and run the football as much as they can. This Houston defense is nasty. Rodgers has no mobility. So I think they're going to want to play action. And the best way to play action is establish the run. So I think Jalen Warren is interesting at captain at very low ownership, leverages off of Gainwell stuff. And I mean, if Gainwell is really more popular than DK up top, which we have it projected and he might, that's a wide receiver one that Rodgers is very fine throwing one-on-one balls. Like, yeah, we're about Stingley in this defense. If he's one-on-one, Rodgers doesn't care who's across from him. He's going to throw it up. So I think there's upside there. After those two, like, yeah, Nico, of course, I'll play some. But as the chalkiest guy in a 38.5 total, I probably going to come on underweight to him at the captain spot. If CJ Stroud's really 16.5, 17%, no way I want to play that much there. Then I think it's probably just Gainwell, Woody, Marks. And if Rodgers is 5%, give me him 3 times less owned than CJ up top. So Warren, DK, Gainwell, Woody, Marks, I think are my favorites.
Yeah, I like the Rodgers call. Out of all that, I mean, you mentioned a bunch of stuff there that I like, and I think we'll line up on. But for the first part of the captain talk is definitely Rodgers. I think if the Steelers are in the game, it's a large part because of him. And I know people want to get on Metcalf because he's just coming back. I know people want to get on like what they would look at as game script independent for good reason with someone like Kenneth Gainwell, like you mentioned. Like, sure, they're going to get to him because he can catch passes, and if they're up or down, that can make it work. I think all those are good, but I'm hoping that Rodgers can spread it around. And if that's the case and keep them in the game, I think he's very valuable at whatever it is, like 5%, 6% that we end up seeing. Even if it gets boosted a little bit, I don't see that steam mattering too much. I definitely see him as a really good option. I think Stroud's fine on the other side, only because he does like to spread it around. The other thing, people mentioned it, and I don't care at all about these things, especially in a playoff 1v1, like, one and done type game, like welcome Nico Collins to Joey Porter Jr. Island. I get it. That's a bad island to go to in football, but it's like these guys can find their way around. But if they don't, then I think that can help Stroud, because then you don't normally see like it's all Higgins game. It's all Christian Kirk or something. It's going to be spread around. So that's why I would like Stroud with passing to his running backs. Maybe Collins picks up some catches, but is better in the flex. You got Higgins, you got Kirk, Noel, Schultz, whoever, like all those guys are capable. So I do like both quarterbacks. The Warren talk, he won't get steamed up. The chat's worried about if we talk him up, he'll get steamed up. He's going to stay right where he is, especially at 9K, or as we're talking to Captain, 13.5, $300 less gets you Gainwell, and people definitely like him more. So Hoop, anything you want to add up here? I mean, those are some of my favorites as they stand out, but maybe the tight ends to get different, but it's tough to say. Maybe Schultz more than Freiermuth are trying to pick that side. What do you got?
Yeah, a lot of the similar thoughts that you guys kind of laid out. Like, fine with Nico Collins. Like, I don't love that, he's going to be the highest owned on the slate, but like if you're playing 150 teams, you're going to have some Nico Collins. I'm fine with that. I'm more disturbed with the CJ Stroud being right there too. Like, I kind of like what Title said. Like, if he's going to be number 2, I don't love that. Gainwell, DK Metcalf, I like both those dudes. I mean, Gainwell's role is very nice. I mean, even getting like downfield throws and everything. So I'm fine playing him. But yeah, if DK is going to be 4th out of that group, I think that's the spot I'd kind of focus on. If he's going to be the 4th highest owned on the slate, I like him quite a bit. Aaron Rodgers at basically like no ownership, very low ownership. I like that. Jalen Warren, I think, is a great call. Again, there's no way he gets steamed up. I mean, it's 4 to 5% somewhere in that range. And I can't we know Nico Collins, Stroud, Gainwell, DK Metcalf, they're going to be probably at least 10%. That's, when you add all that up based on what we're showing, 35, it's 60%. There's no way like Jalen Warren can get up there. So I think he's a really good play. And then the last one, would be Dalton Schultz. I'd add him to the mix. I mean, I could see like a 6 for 70 and a touchdown, and that probably is enough for him to be, at least in consideration, to be the optimal captain. But yeah, I mean, the two that definitely stand out to me would be, in terms of lower owned options, 3, I guess I should say: Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Warren, Dalton Schultz. I think those 3 all end up 4, 5, 6%, somewhere in that range. And I think they're good leverage against some of those higher owned captains on the slate. I guess Woody Marks, throw him in there too. Like, I mean, I'd be fine with that. I'd be open to spreading it out more today than I typically do.
Anything based off of those 2 other additional people talked about their title? Anything else change for you, or anything else you want to add?
No, I'll definitely be spreading it out. Yesterday, I think I played 1 Travion, maybe 1 Diggs captain, and then I think my other 88 teams had just Herbert or Drake May. Like, I don't see myself doing that at all today. So I don't think it's the slate for that. On a 38.5 total and no one's favored to score, like 11 from Freiermuth might be enough to get up top. Like, crazy random 1 play, boom, that's your captain. So I don't like playing a very condensed pool on games like that I think 1 play can change everything.
Yeah, and I think the main thing for me, just where I'll go back to you for running backs in a second, unless you want to add more quarterback, but the main thing on like the roster construction standpoint is a lot of what you said earlier, the 4-2, 3-3 stuff, led with mostly Houston because people have them winning. That's always what makes it a little bit more popular. But if people do go 5-1s or anything like that, I think it's going to be more likely on the Texans side based on them being the favorite and having those pieces that just kind of fit perfect. I think there's a ton of options for 2-4s, 4-2s, 3-3s led by Pittsburgh, where you don't even have to get that far off the board. You can just change things up via roster construction. That's a different sort of lineup build, like we just talked about, like 3-3s with Pittsburgh up top, 4-2 with Pittsburgh favorite in the captain, but also just utilizing the good plays, leaving a little bit of money on the table. Like, I don't know if it's going to be that you have to find the dumpster dive piece. It's a playoff game. Can happen. Going to mix it up if you got a full portfolio. But I think if you're playing like 1 lineup versus everybody else playing, it's not a single entry, but you have 1 lineup. I think you should be looking at some of that stuff and then hoping that the Steelers come to play. That's a way you could just naturally get different, unless you want to go to like an unpopular Texans captain. But again, make the whole lineup work for you. But I think that's just a few ways that you could do it. Title, I'll go back to you. Anything else you want to add with Rodgers or Stroud? If not, you could take us further into the running back conversation.
Yeah, nothing more to add. If the ownership stays true. Rodgers way less owned in the flex and the captain. That it feels pretty easy for me. Running backs also feels pretty easy because the Texan side, it's Woody Marks and Nick Chubb, and Nick Chubb is total dust. The dude's touchdown props plus 750, 14.5 rushing prop with the real price tag of 3,000. So
if it's plus 750, imagine like what it really is. So that's the number that the sports book is offering. So if it's 7.5 to 1 to score, just think what it actually
22 to 1, maybe.
Yes.
Really bad. If you're playing a bunch of teams, sure, Nick Chubb, you can get like 1 or 2. Otherwise, he's an awful click in my opinion. The other 3 though, I think they're fine, I guess. The reason I say fine is they have real prices, 8,800, 9K, and 8,200 against. I mean, the Texans defense is elite everywhere. Definitely tough on the ground. And Steelers defense, yeah, they haven't been, I guess, great. The Stone shows that they're really bad. I do think they're better than the Stone shows. Also getting TJ Watt back last week. I mean, that's massive for him. But Jalen Warren's projected the least out of Gainwell, Woody Marks, and he's the highest price. So just naturally he's going to be the lowest owned, and I guess I'll lean into that. But, I mean, it's tough. It's been like a 63-37 split lately, Gainwell leading, and he's just such a good pass catcher. Rodgers has so much faith in him. I don't have a strong lean there. I'll let you guys decide. But the ownership is definitely intriguing on the Warren stuff.
Hoop, anything you got different at the running back position?
Yeah, I mean, I think what Title was kind of leaning into, I agree. Like, you look at the Jalen Warren stuff from like the game theory perspective, he's more expensive, lower projection, has to be lower ownership. But I kind of just go back to the fact of that split that he talked about, and then going into the playoffs where an absolute like must win. I think the split could potentially grow a little bit more. So I think like if you're making a play on Warren, you almost got to hope that they're out there together, which I think is possible. I think it definitely is possible that they're out there together. They're using Gainwell in a lot of different ways. I just worry. Like I just feel like Warren needs like the 2 touchdown game, which is in play, but I don't know, man. Gainwell just feels so much better in this spot, and knowing Aaron Rodgers and how he just loves his guys. Like, this seems like a Aaron Rodgers guy. It worries me a little bit. And then, Woody Marks is fine at 82. They, like Title said, that they have big price tags, all these guys. But, we're probably, if the total holds true, we're gearing up for like a lower scoring slate where, the fantasy points on the optimal could be 10, 11, 12, 13 might be good enough. So kind of also have to keep that in mind when looking at the price tags on these guys as well. And I guess it still just leads me back to Gainwell, where 5 catches for 40 yards feels very fair, and that's 9 essentially free points, like 9 free points right there that he could have over these guys. So he's going to be there in terms of ownership, obviously, when you look at these guys. But I just have a hard time. I have a hard time looking away from Gainwell. I just think he has so many free fantasy points tonight.
What about this Title? I don't have too much to add to both you guys, but like, what about playing both running backs from the Steelers?
Yeah, I mean, if you're really looking at a low scoring, I wouldn't really want Rodgers in that team because Rodgers needs to throw touchdowns. But yeah, if you're not doing Rodgers and you're saying it's all on the ground, you hope Warren gets the touchdown, because Gainwell can get 15 without a touchdown with how many catches he can rack up. So I have nothing wrong with that at all.
I think it's more interesting too, because like Hoop always says, like Warren, yeah, but Gainwell's wide receiver too. So
look at these numbers. Sure. 9, this targets here: 9, 4, 7, 7, 7, 3, 6, 8, and that goes back to week 11. He's averaging like 6 to 7 targets a game, and he's converting almost all of them. I mean, almost all of those targets have converted into catches. I don't know, man. It's just free fantasy points. I mean, these are 90% conversions, targets to catches. Like, just think he's got to be the best play when looking at these other guys.
Yeah, I like that call. So I'll stick with that. I definitely think it's possible. I like the call out of like maybe not putting Rodgers in there at all, because you're just saying that's the case. And then you could even go with one of them as the captain. It's like Warren, captain running back, Gainwell, captain wide receiver. It's like putting a wide receiver too, a captain. And then you got Warren scores one on the ground that outdoes all those other guys or whatever else it might be. And then you could still fit in things after that. I think the problem is people have money left over at that point sometimes. And then they start to think, well, if I do that, can I put Metcalf or should I put Rodgers just to fill it out or whatever? It's like, you got to just think about how the game plays out. And that's why it's funny some nights too, before we go to wide receiver title. And we've talked about it on FanDuel a ton. We'll get to that later, but just noting it, sometimes it is those lineups, right? It's like Warren in the captain, Gainwell in the flex, whatever else. You're like, oh, there's no holes in that lineup. It has like all the best guys. The hole is the massive gap of salary they left on the table, because instead of just putting Rodgers in where they could fit him, they were like, I'm going to put in somebody else in the mid-range and just say it's not a Rodgers lineup because of my story I'm telling. He doesn't need to be a character in this book or in this movie or everyone. The analogy I'm giving is like, it's just the story is this. He's not in it. Yeah, there's money left over, but it's still a pretty good story. So I'm going to stick with it. And I think that's what you have to remember, especially if you're hand building out there, is you don't just bump up to Rodgers because he's a quarterback. If your story tells it's the running backs that get the job done through the pass game and on the ground. So interesting to look at from that perspective. Take us into wide receiver. Give us your thoughts there.
Yeah, no, that's important though. Many people out there are hand building. I'm more MME stuff, so I let the correlation and just my inputs and stuff dictate it. But if you're playing Showdown, the game script should be like one of the most important things, and definitely get out of the habit of let me bump up money, or let me like I'm leaving 1,400 now. I only need to leave 300 or something. Like force yourself to move up. That's the wrong game. In NBA, absolutely. In NFL main slate, absolutely. That NFL Showdown's a different beast, with it being a dupe game. So definitely try and steer away from that. Receivers, it's tough. The reason it's tough is, well, there is no Darnell Washington, which makes a little, like these receivers probably on the field a little more, but it's still Freiermuth and John who are going to play a ton. The receiving props, and like all these guys are awful. 4.5 is the highest reception prop on the slate. That's Gainwell, to be fair, at minus 154. Then Nico, Schultz are the only two favored to have over 4.5 catches. And then the receiving prop, it's 70.5 Nico, 54.5 DK. Then Schultz is the highest at 42.5 before it gets to 30.5 for Jaden Higgins at the next highest. Like, you're really guessing. And Jaden Higgins, 30.5 receiving prop, he's $7,200. Now, with all that being said, he's 13% in the flex. I actually think he's a pretty good receiver. He has a rapport with CJ Stroud. If he can outscore the running backs, you will get a massive ownership discount. We're just talking about it. 7,200. We saw 9K, 8,800, 82. If you think Higgins can outscore those running backs, that is how you can do like a solo shipper. Now back to that, what contest you're playing in should also determine how like strong a stances you're making, or like how off the board you're getting. If there's 88,000 people, flagship, of course. If you're playing in a 50-man or a 200-person contest, I wouldn't play Higgins over the running back, just 1v1. I think Higgins is DK is my favorite receiver. I still don't even love it that much. If Nico's 45% in the flex at 10.6K, I probably will come in underweight there. Christian Kirk, Jaden Higgins, I like them both a decent bit, but like then Xavier Hutchinson rotates in, and then Jalen Noel a little bit. So I'm going to rank these Houston guys at cost. I'm going to go Higgins, Kirk, then Nico, then Hutchinson. It's gross, though, and the other side's not any more clear. DK Metcalf's clearly number one, but then they have Scantling, Kelvin Austin, and Thielen. I'm definitely saying Scantling's my favorite after DK. Talking about the rapport with Rodgers, and a lot of his routes are just downfield. So one catch for 40 yards and a touchdown, boom, you'll take that. Whereas Thielen's A-dot feels like it's like 4 yards. Kelvin Austin's kind of slowly but surely been removed when they're fully healthy. So, yeah, receivers are really tough. I like tight ends more, and I like running backs more at the end of the day.
Agreed. And here's the other thing, in case you didn't know out there, you don't actually have to play any receivers in your lineup if you don't want to. You can just build lineups without them. So lots of opportunity tonight to get different. People are already talking about the tight ends, the kickers. Again, like I said, I don't even have to ask. I think people just naturally think this is going to be lower scoring. Tell your story. Like we continue to say, it's been a theme all season. That's what we always talk about, is the process, not who to play, but how to play. And realistically, if you've got somebody mentioned like a Fairbairn captain in there and you put him in, that makes sure. I mean, he gets a ton of points, like you said, but to me, that's in a lower scoring game because they're not getting to the end zone. Obviously, all that's second nature or kind of common sense. But my point is, it's like what you don't realize is what I'm trying to say is people put a Fairbairn captain up top at 7,200. Then they have all the money for Stroud and Rodgers. And it's not some shootout if that's happening typically. So it's like when you're looking at your lineup, people do it. And then you hear this all the time. Oh, nailed this kicker captain at 2%. Nobody was on him, but the lineup sucked after that. Yeah, because you played it poorly, and that's what you have to look at when you're going in. So just make note of that. Think about your whole lineup. Tell the whole story all the way through. Getting the captain right is only one part of the battle. So you gotta remember that too. Hoop, anything you want to add here at wide receiver, and any thoughts just on anything else there?
Yeah, it's tough. It's definitely ugly. I mean, you got Nico Collins, you have DK Metcalf, the two obvious plays, and whatever you want to do with them, I think is fine. I mean, both these guys are very talented, can nuke the slate, they can be there in the flex. I think they're in a conversation of their own. After that, a couple things that stand out. Jaden Higgins' price tag at 72 is going to scare a lot of people. 7,200. It's going to keep his ownership in check, and I think that's something that we can exploit here tonight because he's a big play guy. Kind of became more active in the passing attack as the season went on, especially towards the end of the season. In a game that could potentially be low scoring. I mean, the reason we keep bringing that up because the over-under is relatively low. Yeah. 2 for 70 and a touchdown could be enough. So he definitely stands out to me at that price tag. People are not going to want a low projection, high price tag. That means ownership is going to be suppressed, and it's definitely what we're seeing. After that, I think it's a group of guys that you're not going to feel comfortable playing. And I say this a lot, and I think it is true. Like a lot of these guys are probably better suited in quarterback captain teams, depending on which side you play. If you're on the Houston side, the Stroud captain teams. If you're on the Pittsburgh side, the Aaron Rodgers captain teams. The one I don't like because the ownership is Christian Kirk he's looking to be the highest owned of these cheap tight ends. Like what the hell has he done this season to get this high ownership? He's done absolutely nothing. I can answer that question for you. He has a high. He had one week 12. It looks like he had one good game. Outside of that, he hasn't cracked 7 fantasy points. And I know he's had injuries and shit like that, but if Christian Kirk is going to be highly owned relative to these other cheap guys, I'll play them all over Christian Kirk, Hutchinson, MVS, Calvin Austin, Noel. So that's a second point for me. And then, MVS, Adam Thielen is a tough click though, man. What is his upside? 2 for 20 or something, 4 fantasy points. Thielen is definitely probably my least favorite of this group. I just don't see the upside. But I'd be fine mixing in the rest. And Noel. If Noel is going to go unowned, he has that one big play upside. He can get there. So that's just a few thoughts about these, I guess, really bad wide receivers.
Hey, I was going to say, tell us how bad MVS is again. We have a great clip of that.
Yeah, I'm not going down that. I'm not going down that path again. I'll avoid that because he did have a good game. He had a good game to close out the season.
Yeah, maybe he's a favorite for Rodgers. Like Title said, he picks his favorites. I definitely agree with that. It's always been the case. Yeah. He knows his free play guys. He knows sort of all that stuff. And I would say to this, a couple of comments I saw in the chat, this is a funny but common one. Don't think you're with your own crowd here, Ars. This is very common. People say, I don't see many points being scored, so it'll probably be a shootout. That's the way my year has gone. You and many others, my friend.
I think it's easy to make the case for a potential shootout here. The one thing is you look at the Houston side, they have these big play guys. You saw the Higgins stuff, Noel, obviously Nico Collins, and then on Pittsburgh side, the emergence of Gainwell, that connection, and then DK coming back. They have guys. I think you can definitely make the case for points being scored here.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, it's definitely possible, and there's ways to get there. And then just from a fantasy points perspective, I think the total is one thing, but just or what people saw last night, how good the defenses could be, and whatever. But I think the one thing that's just completely overrated is that high totals equal high fantasy points per that on a certain player, meaning yesterday, I was just pulling it up, but the Eagles scored 19 points as a team. That's what the Steelers could put up tonight. Devonta Smith, 8 for 70, did not get a touchdown, but 8 for 70 is going to be a pretty good score here. You're going to take that from anybody. I'm not saying Gainwell or someone like that is a Barkley, but they Gainwell plays like a Barkley for his own team, can get those opportunities that could happen. Or Warren, if it ends up being him, the guy, 26 carries for 106 yards, 3 catches for 25. It's those are still going to add to fantasy points that you need tonight on this slate. So even if you only have a team, they're not going to crack 19. Maybe not. Ramondre Stevenson last night was 16. What did he have? 75 on the ground, 55 through the air, or vice versa. Like, all those are going to add up, and you're going to need somebody. So no matter what you think about the actual score, somebody still has to put up the fantasy points. We've seen games where the Carolina Panthers put up 14 points, but someone like a Tet had two of the touchdowns and the racked up the catches and yards to go with it. Massive score on a main slate even. So got to keep that in mind as we're going throughout it. And then lastly, and we'll go to tight end with you, Title. But Matthew Bannister says Hutchinson gets open. It's a snap count issue. Agreed. But again, the thing about these showdown slates, and particularly ones like tonight, and if you're playing in the lottery specifically, it's $500,000 to first, 100 to second. And as our guy Sheet says, set of steak knives after that or whatever. It's like, you're not getting very much after that. So it's like, you got to play to win. And what you want is the snap count where the one snap he's out there is like a 70-yard touchdown, and it's good night to everybody but the lineups with him. And then it's like, okay, great. Now I'm in position. So however many you're building, make your decisions based off of that, your stomach for it, your risk versus reward and upside, all that. But all that stuff goes out the window. Matchups, all this shit. Like, to me, it's just each lineup has to tell its own story. So Title, go back to you. Tight end, we talked about the Pittsburgh side a little bit, but I'll let you take it from there. And then Schultz, of course, and others on the other side also.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, outside for the receivers, outside of Nico and DK, all the snap counts are like not safe. He plays like 45% of snaps. That's him, Higgins, sometimes Kirk. Like, the Steelers guys aren't really doing much better when they're healthy. A lot of that has to do because they're going to run plenty of 2 tight end sets with Pat Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith. Like, give me these tight ends, all of them, over the receivers today. Freiermuth looks like a strong play, but ownership will be there. But he's $5K. Build a Higgins team, take out Higgins, play Freiermuth. You just left $2K very easily without giving up anything. Schultz looks good too at 6,400. Second highest receiving prop, third highest on the slate, second highest on his own team, 42.5. Second best reception prop as well. Third best behind Gainwell and Nico, but 4.5 minus 124 on the over. He's a second favorite target for CJ. And again, put in any of the running backs, take Gainwell out, go to Dalton Schultz. He can outscore him straight up. The other two, Jonnu Smith, no Darnell Washington's definitely a boost for him. And he's an athletic tight end. He can catch the ball, turn upfield, and get a touchdown. So there you go. 4K. Definitely have interest. The last one's Cade Stover. He's 600, and he will definitely be in my pool because there's no one. You have to go all the way to Xavier Hutchinson for 1,800 more at 2,400 to get a projection with anyone greater than 1. Cade Stover will play roughly 50% of snaps. The Texans will play 2 tight ends as well. 1 touchdown for him. I mean, sign me up all day. Only $600. There's not really value on the slate again until 2,400. I'm totally in on some Cade Stover who will be out there. So yeah. And the last guy, I saw a couple people betting Connor Hayward anytime touchdown. I don't hate the look. I will say the sports books are way ahead of it now, but he's their QB, their tush push guy with how old Rodgers is. If you get in 4th and short, you will see Connor Hayward come out for a tush push, $1,600. If it's really that low scoring, is 6 enough? 6.1? I don't know. I don't love it personally because even if he gets the best outcome, it still might not be enough, but you can tell yourself a story.
Man, I'm telling a story about Cade Stover. He can heat up quick, buddy.
Yeah.
You got in the NBA, you got a little microwave action, that's someone that can heat up quick. You got Cade Stover. Put him up 350 degrees, maybe 400 degrees for 20 minutes. That's all we need. Get a score out of him. He can make some shit happen. But I do think just looking at it, sometimes those are the plays that can just make the rest of the lineup work. And to Title's point, especially when you're using optimizer and you're kind of like getting somebody in there with a projection, it's kind of an opposite effect. Because when you already have talked about how spread out captain will be, and you already have talked about how like it's kind of a shit show at some of these other positions, but there is options and people are just playing 7%, 10%, 19%, like it's getting moved around. It's not like when you have a cheap captain, like if you built the cheapest if you built the Stover captain lineup tonight, just using the same crazy example, yes, you'd end up on basically the exact same lineup as everybody who does that because that works. But when you use them in the flex, there's a ton of different ways that you can use them. And then you can get so many other combinations around it just on captains alone, money left over, filling it out from there. So I do think it's actually pretty interesting to find. If you find someone like that, maybe your guy is Hayward at 1,600, fine. but it's like that's the way to do it. What are your thoughts on that? And anything else at the tight end position?
Yeah, some really good points there. I mean, you look at these tight ends, and yeah, you probably pretty quickly want to write off Cade Stover or Hayward, but I think solid points by title where there's no cheap guys that are projecting really for anything. So you got Stover at 600, and then the Connor Hayward thing makes a lot of sense. We've seen it; they've done it. He's their tush push guy. If they get it to the 1, he has a chance of getting 6 fantasy points, and that definitely could be enough on the slate. So. Those 2 plays make sense if you're building a lot of teams. Like if you're hand building, you're probably not going here. This is MME sort of stuff. The one I definitely like the least by far is Jonnu Smith. Like I get that he's on the field, but man, he just doesn't do anything ever. I like Freiermuth and love Dalton Schultz at the $6,400 price tag.
Microwave is, you guys have heard this. Have you heard? You must have heard this title, right? Call someone a microwave in the NBA. Yeah. It's like he heats up quick. It's like, don't worry, get it going in the second quarter. He's a microwave. Like that's the thing. For sure. Speaking of BG though, the only guy, this guy's the biggest ex-Hutch fan on the planet. And he's also a Mason Tipton fan as well. Just going back to all these sort of low-level wide receivers that are obviously phenomenal to even get in the NFL in the first place, but just saying the ones that only the preseason lovers know all about. So shout out to BG, always crushing it for us over in the NBA streets, Showdown streets specifically, where the late night crowd is always kicking it. And if you get a little bored and football's not on after this, the last Monday game of the season, right? So it's like things like that where you can get involved pretty quickly. So love to see that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. It's the microwave. That was his nickname, Vinny Johnson, the microwave.
There you go. Vinny Johnson can heat up quick. That's why.
Yeah, that was his official nickname. So they weren't just throwing it at him. Like Vinny Johnson was the original microwave.
Did you ever hear someone reference using a microwave and say just nuke it, like throw it in there?
Yeah.
All right, that's an old school thing too. I was just curious if that was weird or not, but yeah, it's definitely.
It's like my father-in-law. Like anytime we eat dinner or anything, he wants his shit just as hot as possible temperature wise. So like we'll just finish cooking something, he'll get a plate of food, take it to the table, then bring it back to the microwave to warm it up again. Like his shit has to be so hot. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like we just finished cooking this shit. Like literally just finished cooking it. That food's back in the microwave heating up.
What, he would eat half while it was so hot?
Yeah, he'd take a couple bites and this isn't hot enough. And he takes it, go back and pump that plate right in the microwave and fire it right back.
This guy's gonna move the microwave right by the table. He sits there and eats and then just sets it in it, pops it back in, beep beep, hits 30 seconds. Like, what are you doing? Next tray, ready to roll.
No exaggeration. He'll put that thing in there 4 or 5 times per meal to keep the food super hot.
Man, Philly, I appreciate you guys saying that's a real term, but mostly happy to see you here, my friend. I know yesterday was a rough day for you, and some fans take it harder than others, and I appreciate that. But good to see you're still kicking it with us, my man. So, all right, kickers and D's, hoop. All I need for you to do, really, because the D's, whatever, we talk about that. The B's knees, the D's knees, the same things. But kickers, Boswell and Fairbairn, who you got? Who's your fighter tonight? You can play both. But if you could only pick one, because these guys can kick some field goals.
Let me keep it simple for you.
Game log.
Is it? No. A step further beyond the game log. Is it a primetime game?
It is.
Yes, it is.
Are the Steelers at home?
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Boswell's the answer.
Play Boswell. Yes. Damn, a 5-1 Boswell.
5-1 with Boswell. That's the only soldier you need tonight on the Steelers side is Mr. Boswell. He always gets the job done. We had those numbers too. I mean, the numbers kind of backed it up a little bit.
Didn't he suck
on the show?
He
probably did that game. So that means he's due tonight. He's due tonight. He's going to reward us. But in all seriousness, yeah, good with both these guys. I mean, both good kids. Although the one thing that does this field is not easy to kick in. I mean, this is statistically one of the more difficult fields for kickers. But Boswell has found a way. So I will say Boswell over Fairbairn officially, but I think both in play. And then defenses probably get more ownership tonight because of the low total. So I'd be careful with that. We're showing 20 and 19. I think it comes in higher than that. And because if people are going to look at these defenses and then compare it to some of those wide receivers and say, I'll just take the defenses. So I think it is higher than what we're showing, probably mid 20s So that's one thing to be cautious with when building teams.
He said, "Oh, I'm depressed, but got to joke through the pain." I did this. So we know titles teasers are useless now. They let us down on the weekend. The Philly loss hurt us with titles teasers. Tonight we'll blame the captain call on Hoop. The host's abilities. I can just do this stuff as we go along. But yes, we do remember Tyler Loop. What a terrible, terrible way to end the season.
We didn't talk about that. I mean, this is potentially getting off track, anyway. But it's like, if you're gonna do that, why they ran one more play? Why not run it up the middle and try to get like that's so.
Why not throw it? I mean, right? Everyone's always thinking of the worst possible scenarios of all time, but like, come on.
That one was my hindsight. Yeah, that one was my hindsight where I was like opposite. Because at the end of the day, I was like, it's a 44-yarder. You got a guy you literally drafted in the first round. The second I went back to that, and it's not because we lost. I was saying this after we lost. My original thought was like, whatever. But then you're like, wait a minute. All that time, a timeout, Derrick Henry, throw it, a play, anything. They're not going to give up a big play, but they'll give up a small one. Just do anything to give this guy like 5 more seconds to chill because his heart's racing through his head. And then let him go up and try it from a little bit closer. And who knows? What if a guy slips and you end up getting like 8 yards or something? Yeah. You got like a decent play out of it. You still have a full timeout. Just, fire that one into the sun. And they did.
At the bare minimum, you can count on 3 to 4 yards per play. So they went backwards 2. You could have gone forward 3. And I don't know, in my eyes, like a upper 30s field goal feels much nicer than a mid-40s field goal, like especially with the young kickers. I don't know. I thought that was a terrible.
It was against the Pats, the Pats 2 weeks before, whatever. He noodle-legged a 56-yarder or something. He didn't even make it there. Yeah. Like the dude clearly had some problems. Like, give me a little closer than 44.
That was the same game that we had the running back rotation for the Ravens. We heard that story.
I know. Lost a lot of cheese on that game.
That was so bad. But you know what? People could talk about the Harbaugh thing. It's funny enough. It's like now everybody else is firing their coach just to go get him. I think he's a great person. I think he's going to be a great coach somewhere else. Sometimes the team just needs change. The Ravens could end up with a worse coach right now, or they'll be making fun of whoever the Ravens get, and they'll be saying, aha, should have kept Harbaugh. You're going to see how tough things are. It's like sometimes people just need a change. I think he was losing the locker room. Sounds like it. I think that, people just bitching and the fans and everything, eventually it gets involved. He's been there forever. Nothing says that you just stick around forever. And even Tomlin talked about it like the other day. It's like he could lose tonight and be gone too. Like they could just end that.
Change for the sake of change can be good in some scenarios. And I think that is one of these scenarios.
Yeah, give me Harbaugh over LaFleur on the Packers any day. I'd love that. But if I'm a Ravens fan, Harbaugh needs to go. Like, I totally agree. Yeah. Like, there's no ifs, ands, buts.
Yeah.
Congrats to our man Byron. Says, isn't Title about to have a baby? I think it's going to be Title's wife, actually. The only reason I remember.
I don't know nowadays. You got to ask that question.
Congrats to you, Byron. That's awesome. Byron, we don't need to acknowledge that.
No, that's huge. Appreciate you. All right. What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, man. LaFleur. Ben Johnson, by the way. Now that we're almost at the end of this. Do you see his face when he walks up to him like a little gremlin and just like, shakes his hand quick and then beams out? And then today he doubled down. He's like, nah. He's like, I hate that team. He's like, we're a rivalry. We have to be one. And the person goes like, oh, but why? He's like, we just have to be. Simple. Yeah. Like he just moves it along right quick. I think it's amazing.
Yeah. Give me LaFleur or give me Ben Johnson over LaFleur any day of the week. No doubt about that.
Did you watch the 4-minute long where like Caleb's like zoomed in on him and then he gets up and does like all the hype? Did you watch that locker room speech?
No.
Oh man, incredible stuff. This guy has the locker room just around his finger. It's perfect. That's what you want. It's a guy coming in. It's really, really good stuff. What about this one? Results aside, I'm going through all my weekend thoughts now. It's kind of like a reflection at the end for anyone who wants to hang out, but we'll do some like FanDuel shit in a minute probably. But what about this? Jordan Love or Caleb Williams? I know people jump to like, well, pretty obvious. Caleb just won the game. I know he did a jump man pass. I get it. But what would you really want, Title? You get to start a team next year. You can have Caleb Williams or Jordan Love at quarterback. Who would you choose?
I mean, I'm debating Malik Willis and Jordan Love, so it's not even close for me. I truly think Caleb might be like top 7 though. The dude's his running presence with his arm talent, you just can't teach that stuff. Now you can teach him how to make better decisions, this and that. But I think Caleb's a stud in the sense of he has everything you want. Hoop always yells about Goff. He can't move. Caleb can move with the best of them.
Yeah.
His arm is and Ben Johnson saw that. I mean, he was, as the offensive coordinator for the Lions in week 17, he was complimenting Caleb Williams. He knew exactly where he wanted to go. Caleb all day.
I don't know, Hoop, if you have a different take, if you had to pick one, do you have a different thought?
Love
there?
played well. I will say Love had nothing to do about that loss. Love played a great game.
That's very clear. Caleb Williams for me too. I mean, I think the combination of him with Ben Johnson. I mean, we might be. I was actually thinking about it today randomly. In 2 years, we might be, looking back and man, that what they've done. That team could just be the best offense in football, maybe even by next year. Who the hell knows? I mean, it's a good combination. And man, his throws, they look effortless, and they're just he's going to be. I think he's going to be very good. I think he might just end up being one of the best within a year or two.
2 years, we could be talking in 2 weeks about
these
true.
Guys.
To be honest, I'm telling you, man, I was going to say that too, but it's something special about that. And obviously Ben Johnson, special for people like that. He has the Dan Campbell side from being over there as the team loving and riding for their guy.
Yeah.
He knows how to do it. He's clearly built for it that way because it's early. You can't just fake that stuff or come up with speeches on the spot. You're either a leader or you're not, I think, at that level. And that's why they bring you in. And for him, he's a guy that obviously has it already. You could see it and hear it from Caleb after. That's why I asked if anybody watched that stuff. I love these speeches and shit that if it's real, I make fun of Jameis sometimes. That's more comedy when Jameis Winston is doing it with the team. But Ben Johnson rallying a group of men in the locker room and setting it up that way, it was pretty solid stuff for 4 minutes and just everybody's behind him. So I don't know. I think they're going to be doing some interesting stuff. And I don't know about this Rams team. Got to go into Chicago on Sunday. Man,
Rams winning it all.
I don't know, man.
Okay.
They gotta show me more. That was pretty tough.
Puka's too good.
Puka's too good for sure, but I don't know if he can just do it all, right? Can he really bring them all the way there? Stafford made the mistakes. I don't know. We'll see. But it's making for some good games, like we said off the top, not knowing everything about it. Hoop, anything you want to go with on the FanDuel stuff or anything really stand out to you there that you see?
I pulled it up, but nothing looked too out of the
Warren is way more than, I think he's almost 21. He's 2,100, so over 2K more than Gainwell over there, almost 16K.
Yeah.
That is
Metcalf looks pretty expensive on DK 11 or on FanDuel. I'm sorry, 11.6 seems like a pretty steep price tag for DK Metcalf, where wide receivers are at a disadvantage. Dalton Schultz at 5,800 seems too cheap. Firemouth 72, that's pretty expensive. Jaden Higgins 84, that's expensive. Christian Kirk, I shit on him at 2,600. He's 7K on FanDuel. Oh my, Kelvin Austin is 8,200 on FanDuel. Is that legit?
Yeah.
Is that real?
Yeah.
Oh my, that's tough. I get game theory and stuff, but that is a very difficult click, and maybe that's why he's shown no ownership. Nick Chubb 5,400. So again, I mean, some more aggressive pricing on FanDuel versus DK, but there's some unclickable prices like Christian Kirk and Calvin Austin. I don't even know how you do that.
Yeah, that's going to be the way to get different on FanDuel tonight, though, is if you can find stuff like that where it's the overpay. I don't know who it was, Hoop, a couple weeks ago that you had somebody that you said that it was of interest to you, and it was you got to pay up for them, but if you go there, you end up getting someone completely different. I think they came in at 12% and had a really nice game, and that's where on that site specifically over on FanDuel, you want to be paying up for probability because it's when everybody doesn't want to do it. Pricing's a game. You do have to go still figure out the rest, but if you can make it work, and typically on FanDuel you can, because they have if they got higher pricing one place, it's usually softer in another. There's a different roster construction now with the similar setup to DraftKings where you can put a cheaper captain in. And the other thing about FanDuel title that works on that note is it's a little bit different, right? If you put a cheap captain up top on FanDuel, it might be really low owned and not necessarily be the same if you're putting other higher priced, lower owned guys in the middle. Versus on DraftKings, once you put a cheap captain up top, it almost always for the big dupe trains, you get all the same stuff. On FanDuel, MVP, is much more condensed already. So people aren't spacing it out as much as you would think up top. So just doing a move like that to make the rest work can get you in a different spot on that site. Anything else you want to add from a FanDuel perspective?
For sure. And if there's any game to do it, you'd want a game that we're talking about. I mean, it could be 17-10 when it's all said and done. One touchdown can change anything. If Freiermuth's the highest scorer, you'll just need him. So I think in lower scoring games, at least when you think it's going to go that way, you can play more off the board MVPs. I got really nothing. Just thoughts on defense to go collect said for DK. Obviously strong. Hoop mentioned they probably come in a little higher owned than projected, which I wouldn't be surprised, but they're priced close enough to the kickers. And I do think people prefer the kickers. And I love the kickers. Two of the most conservative coaches in the NFL we got tonight, D'Amico and Tomlin. If it's 4th and 2 at the 30, when you see a lot of these teams go for it or whatever, these guys are probably sending their field goal units because they trust their defense. So yeah, I love both kickers and defenses.
All right. Any final thoughts outside of that from you, Title, or anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
No, I mean, it stinks. I got to cheer for Texans financially, but man, I'm excited to see Rodgers get out there. 2 good defenses. Hey, it's playoff football. I'm pumped for this one.
I want to see actually now real quick. You just made me think of that. Go back. I lost some teams because obviously put them in for like whatever happens, but I definitely don't have any Pittsburgh. Yeah. I got 3 through so far with Buffalo, LA, New England, and Chicago, New England is an interesting one, but Chicago, Houston would be nice too. A Chicago, Pittsburgh would be crazy if someone has that. But all right, Hoop, any final thoughts from you? I know we'll be back tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern. We actually have, for those that stayed to the end or those watching, I know it's a football show, but golf is just around the corner. And we do have another huge announcement coming tomorrow that we're pretty excited about. So I know we already talked about Matt Gannon, the boots on the ground this season, that we're going to have somebody at the majors on top of 10 other additional. He actually, spoiler alert, we'll bring him on tomorrow on the show, but he just sent me, he got a pretty good approval. He got a credential request for the Pebble Beach Pro-Am this year. And he's like, fans don't even end up in those pre-rounds, like in the warm-ups and practice rounds. So he's going to be there like in almost a wide open setup with being able to talk to the pros and going and get us some really good insight to bring back to the nation. But some more news coming tomorrow. Hoop, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I love the addition, obviously, of Matt. I mean, a true grinder, sweaty, try-hard, sort of guy. So excited for him to be on board. And then very, very excited about the announcement tomorrow. Something we've been working on in the back end and everything. Kind of got finalized, this weekend? So just a couple of days ago. So we're working hard to get it all up and running. And I think our community is going to absolutely love it. And, actually beyond our community could benefit from this one. So very, very excited to announce it tomorrow.
Yeah, make sure to check us back out tomorrow. Congrats again to our Ship It Games winners. That should be, all taken care of this week. We're going to send out an email just after this, going through it again. If you want to get in on the PGA Early Bird Special, $349 includes SaberSim. Last year we had it without SaberSim for that same price. So if you still want to get in, SaberSim Optimizer, all the projections and ownership for Main Slate and Showdown, the Stone Tool, the Course Fit rankings, the Slate Plan, the Value Report, all the Showdown Slate Plan content, the education courses, and more, including SaberSim, and the ability to build 150 lineups in your MME contest with SaberScore and all of that. $349 ends to Wednesday, January 14th. So make sure to check that out. And then the price just goes up slightly, but that's the main thing. And then on Wednesday, Alex Blickel and myself will be back here on the Ship It Nation YouTube station with the first edition of Leverage Lane for PGA DFS. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. We appreciate you all. We'll be back this Friday. I think we're going to be recording the 2-gamer for Saturday and then the Sunday show as well, same as we did last week, but we'll have more updates along the way. See you guys tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, Hoop and myself. For Title, for Hoop on this one, and myself, ToeTagginTambo. Good luck tonight. Let's ship it.